which is so interesting to me when you deal with those higher price point. And what you don't realize is I think you're helping a lot of people today sharing this information because a lot of people that get stuck in their own brains about this type of property.
They feel like they need to be someone in order to speak to these people. But the way I see is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people that have gained massive success, that they're not like generational wealth. So when they see someone who's
Hustling.
just professional, who's being real, who's giving them the stats, who's going to go to bat for them, who knows how to negotiate, who knows the contracts inside and out, who studies the market, that's who they're going to select, because they're going to be like, yeah, like you remind me of me, but you're just not where I'm at.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, it's Aaron Wittenstein, and we are here with Vulcan7 Roadmap. This is how we teach you to take 1, 2, 3, 4 listings a week, okay? And I brought a very good friend with me today, all the way from Newport Beach, California, Susan Waldron. Susan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Aaron. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. What's new and exciting?
Oh, the market. I was looking at the stats and actually looking at the data, because as I call and as I'm getting these appointments, not only am I practicing scripts and just, diving in and speaking, trying to get that appointment, but I'm also realizing in this market here, it's selling very quickly. Last year, it was like 20 days, yeah, to get offers accepted. And so now it's taking about like 10 days.
Oh,
So that's very exciting there.
so let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. We have rising interest rates, right? We
That's right.
have, I would assume, lowering inventory. Is that right?
It's the inventory has gone low, so therefore the demand here has been like it's peaking up. So homes are selling a lot more quicker on the market, and they're also increasing in price actually. So it's I know I was in a coaching
S-
session and this is new for me. Like
It's
I was like,
so
the agent, how come I don't know this? Yes.
it's so weird, but I hear. Okay, so maybe I'm just like, what's the word? Ignorant. Okay, because
Right.
I like to live in a bubble. You know what I mean? That's my thing,
Right.
especially comes to real estate. My own bubble, which encompasses my market, my family, and nothing else. All right.
Same.
Am I right? It's the ignorance bubble,
Same until yesterday. I was just like these little nuggets.
right?
And so now I'm on the phone, and now I'm just like doing the 3 hours, and now I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna do the fourth hour, because these properties are selling so quick that I need to inform sellers on the other side that were looking to sell last year, dropped out, maybe because they were waiting 20 days on the market, now letting them know that, hey, it's taking half time and I can prove it.
So, all right. So you put in the normal 3 hours.
Mhm.
Is that daily, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, like double shift on Tuesday? Like, what is your prospecting schedule look like?
I'm going to be very honest
Please.
that it's not consistent, but
Okay.
I am working towards that. I'm actually in Vulcan 7, like I'm the West Coast, like, person that people can jump in. And so that
Mhm.
holds me accountable, because I know I put it out there that people are going to be coming in from the West Coast. So keeps me in line. But I typically prospect about like three, uh, like 3 times a week for 3 hours.
So, all right. So, wait. So, tell me a little bit more about
Yeah,
what you have people jumping into. You have like a prospecting session. Like, what is what
that's
what
right.
is that?
That's right. Well, it's more like I have this Zoom link out there, and
Oh,
anyone is welcome, even if they're listening to this on the West Coast. If you're looking for accountability to just, chime in, it is going to be. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be a boring group, because we're all like on camera, but we're all on mute, but we're all doing the prospecting, and I think that's pretty cool, because it shows people that there's other agents that are also. Um, Calling and doing the
oh yeah.
work.
I mean, it's head down, blinders on, make some money, right?
That's right.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So, and I think the thing is, in a perfect world, when life doesn't get in the way, we want to put in 3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
Yet if you're consistently doing 9 to 10 to 11 to 12, it's a little bit of a kick up. You know what I mean?
Yes, I always say it's like building a muscle, right? So if it's my win, if I'm doing 3 hours and I look at it like within a quarter, if I'm consistent, I track it. I like have like these little marks and I just like, okay, I did this day. And so I can see for the month, because I just don't want to go back to the same routine, which I find agents keep doing is they're inconsistent, but then they go back to the same routine and then they wonder like this pain of like, why am I not getting something? Something's wrong. So I think I've been in the business and also obsessed with like learning the skills of how to do things and the patience of like what it really takes, like time wise. So then I realized that okay, it's like a quarter thing. Real estate's always a quarter thing. If you prospect within that quarter, you will have amazing second, third, or whatever quarter you started. So I see it the same with like call calling. It's like a new skill for me. I'm not going to jump in and say I'm going to, because I still have sphere of influence and I'm also a mom, so I have a busy schedule, but I have to work a schedule that I know that I'm able to pull through and see if I'm being effective, and if I'm not, maybe I have to practice on my skills, or there's another level that I need to reach, after seeing if I'm, if it's all planning out.
So what you're telling me is you're systematic and schedule or I was going to say orientated, systematic and schedule oriented. Is that correct?
I learned to be that way because
Yeah.
I've learned that successful people are that way. So I think it's a good way to track and measure.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when you have a family, you have kids, it's
Right.
fitting everything into a box. I mean, I'm the same. I got 3 kids, you know what I mean, and it's fitting, your dance class and your Boy Scouts and your basketball and all that stuff into one box on top of working and running a successful business like you run, right?
Absolutely. And it's also like like you don't want to go in the sign of insanity of doing things over and over and over, right? So at some point the brain says like it goes into like, is this really working? And of course it's going to work if you're consistent, but the brain is going to say it's not working because you're inconsistent and you have zero results. So I just do that measure like.
Hmm. Oh, that's an interesting concept. And because when you think about everything, when it comes to the brain and tricking your mind and doing
Mhm.
all that stuff, it's like, how can I put this? It's like it's tricking your mind to know that what you're doing may not yield
Mhm.
results yet, but as you said, the first quarter for the second quarter, the second for the third and the fourth, and so on and so forth. I think it's so
That's right.
important, that you said that there. So, talk to me about your business, like your production, like what are you most proud about? When it comes to the production of the business.
I am so proud that we bought last year here. And I feel like that has everything to do with prospecting. So I also still do open houses. That's something that I've learned from the beginning. It's how I've generated business, um, like when I first started real estate. And so I still continue doing that. So it's also good to do what actually works, right? And not
Right.
just give it up. So then I was doing an open house in Newport Beach, eyeing this specific neighborhood. As I was seeing the market being very steady, I was looking at the buyers coming in and telling me like where they're at in buying, how long, because that's another reason why I do open houses, to meet buyers and to see where they're really at, right? Because that in data equals like, okay, you have knowledge. Now you know how the market is going. And so and so I was eyeing this neighborhood, and then when it dropped, I mean, I lived in a townhouse, like a townhouse community. It was listed for 1.4, and then it dropped to like 950, and I dove in, and nobody. This is a hard community to get in. Like there's never homes for sale. It's like one or two, maybe a quarter that's up for sale, and then they get sold so quickly, so the rates increase during that time 7%. So this is where buyers were like, heck no, I'm not going to buy, when I was telling my buyers, go ahead and buy, because everybody has to now, if a seller really needs to sell, they're going to adjust, they're going to be workable. So that's when I came in and I bought my property, and I thought to myself, like, wow, that's the beauty of being in this business. That's the beauty of, even in during that time, I'm prospecting. It's not like I had a lot of leads and my business was going all hot. It was still like the same. I was going through like the motions of what's going on in the market, but I was able to get an opportunity because I was tracking the market and I was seeing what was out there. It was either a client of mine or me that was going to jump in. And so we were able to jump in and purchase. And now it's like worth the 1.4.
There you go. There you go. That's great. And it's, it's not like, I can tell the way you're speaking, the smile that comes into your face is that was really important for you,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was important to us. And not just that, I also experienced other miracles with other clients. That's what I always say. Like, this market always shifts, but there's way. It's like you have to learn the shift. Like I see it, it's like a playing field. So you have to know how people are playing in order to win. So I got other clients and amazing opportunities, again, unheard of. They weren't qualified high, and they were able to sweep in, get something, and boom, within like 6 months, now they have like 100K equity.
Oh, wow.
It's like
It's such
the market is amazing that way. It's almost like you never want to go where the ants go. You want to go where that one little ant, you want to be the ant that drifts away.
a
And that's how you play in this market. That's why I love real estate so much.
I can tell. I love playing the market. You know what I mean? Because I think, what happens is, I'll be the first one to say for myself, we take this so seriously. You know what I mean? Like, because I
Right?
mean, it's serious. Yet the thing is that when you have fun with it, and
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to an agent the other day. She's a brand new agent, and I think you'll appreciate this. Is she was so happy because she's brand new to
Mm-hmm.
real estate, and I'm like, do me a favor. I need you to encapsulate this moment right now,
Yeah.
because this business will be up and down and down and up and up and down and down and up. Just remember how you
Mm-hmm.
feel. And whenever you feel, remember that. So, all right. So I know we were talking a little bit before we popped on here that, your prospecting skills are,
Mm-hmm.
are, are being increased and pushed right now. I mean,
They are.
because of the price points that you're in and the market that you're in. So can you kind of share with me a little bit about what we spoke about?
Sure, but you know what I actually do? With I don't look at the price range. I don't look at the price range who I'm calling. I mean, sometimes believe it or not, it's like sometimes it's like insane. Sometimes it's like 20 million, 30 million. Like these homes in Laguna, because I'm also hitting like Laguna, I'm hitting like Newport, like coast, and so it's like these are like, and I just talk to them like human beings. I go with the script, and my whole goal is to do the script as effective as I could and be a listener. And when they speak, I just let them speak. I don't ask the next question. I let them guide. I let them tell me as much, because I know if the more they tell me, the more that I'm going to know, take notes. They're going to remember me. I'm not going to be an obnoxious agent who's just like going for the hunt. And I'm looking more for the opportunity to build rapport with them, to have an opportunity to visit them, to, of course, to see their motives, if they're looking to sell, like if that really does make sense for them. And then offering them the suggestion of like, would you like for me to, show you the snapshot of the current market to see if it makes sense for you to sell? Because a lot of times, these clients that have that high price, they're not concerned about their next buy. They just want to make a smart, decision if they're going to put their property up in the market. And they might have a second, third home elsewhere. They're not attached to like, I have to move somewhere. They could make it happen. but it just has to make sense for them business wise, because these are business owners. So that's how I approach it. I come in as like, let me show you the stats of the market. Let's have a conversation of what's going on. Let's see if this makes sense for you business wise. And it could be emotional because it could be someone's home.
So what's the average price? Because and that you're calling luxury listings right now.
Yeah,
It's basically what you're doing. You're calling
right.
luxury. What I assume luxury expired is kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, expired.
Okay. What's the average price point that you're calling right now? Would you say
I think the average would be maybe about 6 million,
6 million? Okay.
3
So
to 6 million. Yeah.
so your average list taken then at that point is what, 3, 4, 5, $6 million at this point? I mean, is that kind of what we're
Mhm.
looking at?
Mhm.
So so what's the difference?
There's
Let me
no
rephrase this.
difference.
Is there a difference?
No.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Just get this straight. You're calling a $500,000 expired and a $6 million expired. Okay, so I say six and half, whatever. There's no difference in that conversation at all.
We all use the same scripts, same words. It's all human touch. They're human. At the end of the day, they have the emotions. They have the reasons of why they took their property off the market. If they yell at me, hey, I can get yelled at by someone who has a home that's 400, right? Like in my area. Like they will tell me, don't disturb me. 6 million would say, don't disturb me. A 400 would say, like, yeah, I'm not looking to sell right now. Like possibly like next year, we're not sure. Same answer on the 6 million. Yeah, we're not sure if we're looking to sell right now. Right now probably is not a good time, like maybe next year. But and what I'm saying, it's no different. So 400, I have to look at their stats and see if it makes sense for them. 6 million, I have to look at their stats in their neighborhood and see if it makes sense for them. All the same.
So was there like when you went, because what was your average price point before you moved? What were you looking at?
About 800.
Oh, shoot, 6 million. Okay. Okay. So okay. All right. No,
So
that's
lucky I'm here.
no, that's pretty. That's pretty odd. I love it. I love this. Because I don't think I know what's happening. As a lot of agents, they get they get very intimidated.
They do.
When they hear that. So, what was your like? When did you realize? You know what? This is no different. Like, what? There has to have been like an aha moment, if you will.
What's so interesting is that when I first started real estate, I was in Downey and I was selling homes that were 400, 600 because this was like 10 years ago, right? And I got an opportunity to sell a home that was 1.2. And everybody in my office was like, what the heck, right? And I didn't have a fancy car. I was I was probably 2, 3 years in the business or something like that. The way I met this seller is I was just doing open house like I always did. And she was just a lead. And she just so happens to have this gorgeous home. And I went there and I was so nervous, but I just did the stats and I sat with her and we discussed the process of selling and where they're at, why they're going to be selling, like their big whys. They were retiring and they sold their businesses and now they wanted to sell this beautiful property. And so then I listed it. It sat in the market for like I had to do a price adjustment because I was really nervous. I was like, how do you make, so we were at 1.2 and I had them make an adjustment 75,000 and they did it and then it sold. And that I think I remember myself back then and I say, oh, well, no different. No different. Like now it's 6 million. So it's looking at the data and seeing like, so at this price range, what would be the drop? What would be the significant drop to cause movement? It might be a million. I don't know. I have to look at the location. And the same thing if I'm selling a home that's 400. I'm looking at the stats. What's the drop? Is it a 10,000, 15? What would cause movement? And just being crystal clear with the owner about that and seeing if it works for them or not, and why it doesn't.
See, it's just so interesting to me. Like I said, it's so interesting to me when you deal with those higher price points, and she's like, all right, whatever. It's like it's all the same thing. It's just a different decimal point on it. That's really about it. And what you don't realize is I think you're helping a lot of people today, sharing this information because a lot of people that get stuck in their own brains about this type of property, and
Sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's a very interesting concept.
They feel like they need to be someone in order to speak to these people. But the way I see is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people that have gained massive success, that they're not like generational wealth. So when they see someone who's
Awesome.
just professional, who's being real, who's giving them the stats, who's going to go to bat for them, who knows how to negotiate, who knows the contracts inside and out, who studies the market, that's who they're going to select, because they're going to be like, yeah, like you remind me of me, but you're just not where I'm at. But that doesn't matter because they only care about, are they going to get the level of service that they want? They're not looking at, okay, I have like this Lamborghini. They're not looking for, well, I need an agent who has a Lamborghini. Like that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, because entrepreneurs get entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yeah. I always say you've got a couple personality types, and the fifth personality type is a salesperson. Because a salesperson you can be about as straightforward with, and they'll appreciate it right backwards. It's my favorite people to work with. Yeah, it's my favorite
Okay,
people to
so
work with.
that's what it is. I guess, okay, for the agent who wants to go into luxury. So you got, if this person, think about if they're an entrepreneur, they run businesses. So then I guess that's the only match a agent has to be, is that you have to operate like a business,
Mhm.
and you have to, be an entrepreneur, meaning like you got to do what it takes. So if it's call calling, if it's door knocking, if it's having massive open house, like it's just doing things at a very high level, because this is how they operate.
But it's like any it's the fun part is it's being a chameleon, and that's what we do. Whether it's
Yes.
100, 100, 100, 100,000, a million, 100 million, it doesn't
Yes.
really make a difference. We have to be chameleons and meet with the people that we relate to, and it's our job to relate
Right.
to anybody. So let me ask you. I ask everybody this question. I
Yeah.
ask everybody, and I'm really intrigued to hear what your answer
Yeah.
is. Okay, so
Sure.
you're sitting in your office. You know what I mean. You're pulling out some comps for a $73 million property. Okay,
Yeah.
and an agent walks past your desk and is like, "Susan, what is one piece of advice you have for me? What would that be?"
Bring your A game. Bring your A game, because that's what is going to make you relate to people. I had someone tell me that was super successful when I first started in the business, said, Susan, you can't be like Marie. You can't be like Michael. You can't. And these were top agents in my office. Because if the moment you act like Michael and Marie, these your clients are not going to know who you are. But
Right.
if you come in as yourself, as your perfect whole self who wants to dominate, kick ass in your business, then that's the person who's going to win the business. So that's what I would tell them, is just go your authentic self, but just improve yourself with scripts and get a coach, and do what you have to do to get yourself in the business, like become that business person that you envision yourself with, but be more of yourself in it, because then that's going to open opportunities. That's what I would say.
I like that. I like that a lot, and I'm just saying, not saying that to be nice either. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Final words before we head out for the day. What do you got?
Kick ass, and know your measures. That's the only way. And stop chasing the shiny object.
It's true. It's true. It's true. All right. All right, Susan. So thank you so much for being here today. I genuinely appreciate it.
Oh,
Now
well, thank
let's
you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's say someone is like, oh my gosh, I have a $77 billion seller in Newport Beach. How do they
Yeah.
get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Okay. So give me a call, text me. That's the best thing. It's just text me. I'll get a hold of you very quickly. My number is 949-933-9794.
Can you repeat that one more time for those in the back?
949-933-9794.
Excellent. Susan, thank you so much for being here today. I genuinely appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best in your business.
Oh, thank
And thank you. Can you do me a huge favor?
Sure.
Have an amazing day. I'll see you guys all later. Take care of yourselves.